This is just up behind the Airbnb that we're staying at, and it's this beautiful old apricot orchard that just goes on tiered up through the mountain with all these tiny little rabbit trails that follow all the way through, and it's just so beautiful. Tobes and I are out here today having a bit of a wander. There's a few species I want to point out because there's some cool facts and things that I've learnt since being up in the hills here. So we'll share those out as we go along, as well as a lot of the bees and the native flowers. Look at this bumblebee, you can almost hear it fly by like a plane. So come along for the journey, enjoy just the serenity of it all.
Snack break. We have some dried kiwi, some walnuts and almonds.
Wow, look at the view of the pines through there.
Oh, window moment.
Mm.
It's alright, I'm just using big quill. What up?
Thank you.
Pleasure, Queen. Vicky's scooter's not here, that's why he was asking. He said you just have to wait, that's not cool.
Snack time. We have apple ginger bars, which are just so good. From Woody's, we've got, you'd think muesli, but it's not. Kiwi, walnuts. Toby made a beautiful tea. What's in the tea, babe?
We got Brahmi. We have Swavatari.
Ah, Savatari.
Savatari. And then we have that immunity organic blend we have too.
Yes. Butterfly pea.
Yeah, that one.
Elderberry
The honey.
flower.
Some gingers in there too.
Lovely. Thank you for making that one.
Pleasure, pleasure.
And then we also have some kombuchas from a local friend. Himalayan tonic. So there is a certain type of plant that I have seen growing as I've gone for walks through the hills here over the last few weeks, and I've felt this familiarity with it. I keep stopping and saying, I know you. I know you. And I was really intrigued what this plant was. I went up into Kasul with a local and I asked them, what is this? And they weren't really too aware. They weren't from the area, may I add, but they weren't really aware. And I thought, I have to dig deeper. I need to know what this plant is, because all plants are so powerful and so healing. And so I looked into what this plant was, and I ended up discovering that it was dock. Bitter dock is what it's known as here. And it's incredible. It's incredible. I will literally sit down and do a bit of a talk a bit further down. I just can't take too long because Tobes is currently picking up some lunch. But I'll sit down and talk about all the medicinal benefits of dock because it's incredible. But it grows everywhere here. Just wild. I was trying to just spot some as I was sitting here, but give me 10 meters walk either direction and I'll be able to find some. And another good way to spot it is it's growing right next to stinging nettle. And this isn't a surprise at all. It is literally the counteractive, beneficial thing to put on a stinging nettle sting. So they grow hand in hand, yin and yang, right next to each other. But it grows everywhere here, so I'll point it out and I will talk to you about the medicinal benefits, because once you hear those, you'll understand why I'm so thrilled. Okay, this is the plant I was just speaking of. This is dock. And as you can see, it's just growing happily along the edge of this little embankment here. And so that's the plant itself. Some growing here as well. There's also something else that I wish to speak of that I have seen and witnessed up here in the mountains. And it is this delicacy that the locals make from the baby little sprouts of the ferns that grow just behind me, as you can see. So they are pickled in a form. I can't quite recall the local name right now, but I'll add it in to the description. But this is a delicacy here. These are pickled ferns, and I quite literally saw a man walking along the edge of a waterfall as I was heading into town the other day, and I asked him, "What are you searching for? Mushrooms?" Or and he said no, and he held up a bag of all of the baby sprouts, the tiny little spirals that come out of the very start of these ferns, just as we start to come into spring here. So that's a delicacy I've seen sold behind shop counters in a lot of the herb stores here, and in a lot of the local cuisine stores and things like that. So that's something that is just incredible and gives me great inspiration for home, especially because of how many fern types and species grow in the rainforest where we are. So I'll give you a beautiful little image of these ferns because they're constantly just waving to me through the mountains. Ah, namaste, Ji. How'd you go?
How you going?
So the herbal medicinal benefits of dock are as follows. The leaves are famously used to soothe nettle stings, and as I mentioned, they grow intertwined together. They were a popular remedy for staunching bleeding or for purifying the blood, which is incredible to know. The juice from the leaves can also be applied as a compress to heal bruises, and wrapping it for sprains, which is interesting because the comfrey leaf looks quite similar. That's why I first noticed dock, because the leaf is really long and narrow in a similar shape to comfrey. So I will be intrigued to know if they are related, and most likely they probably are if they have the same healing properties when it comes to sprains. The seeds have also been used to treat coughs and colds and bronchitis. The roots used as a remedy for jaundice, liver problems, skin ailments, boils, rheumatism, stomach problems, everything. So it's incredible. That's growing quite literally all along the hills here as we walk. I see it everywhere. So to have such healing properties right at your fingertips, just growing, provided by Pachimama, is once again a miracle.